These two teams' roads to this game couldn't be any more different. But there's something to be said for being tested, pushed to your limits, and really galvanized over the course of a tough run. Busan is actually our first map in this series. Falcons still want to get their ducks in a row, but they are going to dip a toe on the point to contest. Immortality field cleared, though Proud has been pretty sharp on many of these bolts coming across the map, just mindful of Proper encroaching on his space.
Yeah, and the kill that Merritt gets happens so fast. There's not an opportunity to take the point as Donghak extremely low, has to use the cardiac overdrive early.
And it's going to give him a lot of healing, though. Someone wasn't even there to be charged through. Donghak is going to make use of that ability now in the aftermath to get around behind Merritt. Still not capping the point quite yet, and Merritt is definitely threatening. Good stop, and that's the finish for Donghak. Couldn't have asked for much more, and Merritt had nowhere to go.
Reaper can get right in Volga's face, cause a ton of problems.
The Wraith Walk is important, though. Proper needs to save it for when that shoulder charge comes in. If he gets stomped by the Malga, he's going to be picked up, and he won't be able to fulfill his job as a tank buster in this composition. Fielder here with an air matrix in play, but can't really play around it comfortably. This is awkward. That's been destroyed, but Donghak eventually gets run over by this Reaper-based composition. Zest, though, would like to have something to say about it, but without Proud, it's going to be a long climb up a steep incline. Zest knows he's cooked, and it might be trying to switch it up here for T1.
Potential cage fight, Tectonic Shock action coming in here shortly.
We've got a bit of everything. Here's the overclock for Merritt, though. Again, Donghak is going to be a sponge to much of this damage. Merritt having to make use of that just to chunk the enemy tank nice and low. Proper goes deep, though. Actually has to Wraith Walk away. This could be a little bit risky now if there's a charge that comes in from Donghak. Field had an Immortality field, and it's an Annihilation in play here for Falcons now, stifling any further aggression from T1. But Proper might be more than happy to be caught in a cage fight right now with the Death Blossom at the ready. Dom comes in, there it is, Proper with the proper response. Comes in with the Death Blossom now, it is enough healing to keep T1 alive. By the looks of things, and there's a bowler shot held on to by Proud. Now someone under extreme duress, Nemesis form expiring, and so does his life force. This should be T1 in a position to touch, but it's pretty risky playing into this amp matrix from the high ground, and they've been cut down to size. Sharp shooting by Fielder as Proud is down. Proper will acquiesce. Happy to play the low ground now as we're at 97% and counting for Falcons, and Proper can simply wait. Find a flanking angle. He hears likely Zest quite close by, and there's going to be a touch at some point here from T1, and Zest then has to step up, but Proper was in hot pursuit, and now will push him on the point. Donghak with a power driver. Merritt caught out, still gets a rail in the direction of the Wrecking Ball, but not enough to draw any concern from Donghak. Drops to the point. There's going to be a contest, but Proper's healthy, and Zest has to drill rush away. No momentum for Donghak as he tries to swing, and eventually you've got to face the music. You've got to face down the Hellfire shotguns, and Proper is quite pleased about having his opponents come to him this time. First round, Team Falcons signed and sealed.
Proud just trying to take this angle here on the Freya. You can find any of these kills from above. A few explosive shots go in. Some damage out on the Proper, but Proper's going to take out Skewed.
Yeah, not enough there from Proud. Not enough pressure put down on Falcons. Needs more of those direct hits, and Donghak lacks the support there. The Wrecking Ball is dealt with, and Falcons, it's a massive gap, man. Someone shows that he can play anything, literally anything, but that's a good pick, a good way to start the fight. Merritt's off the field. Now Donghak can start rolling into these backlines with greater impunity and less concern about the hindrance of the Cassidy. Proper's in trouble, and Chio's going to commit a sound barrier to this fight. Falcons want to hold on to the point, but it's a bowler shot here for Proud. That is audacious from Fielder, and it pays off. Nobody doesn't like him. Gets rid of Proud, but there's more work to be done, and with Proper having been felled earlier on, the gambit for Fielder unfortunately just pales in comparison to the impact that T1 have over most of the fight. Vigilante, though, is finally toppled.
And they still have Chio here to maybe get a touch, so they should extend it for a little bit longer. Somewhat now it gets to the point. Actually, a Tectonic Shock here, going to break that Immortality field.
Zest still has to be careful about playing on this corner.
They have everybody back.
Yeah, they just flipped the point to T1, so happy to drag this fight in a little bit longer, but there's going to be a sim wall in play. Zest can, of course, go under or over, as seems to be the case. Big connection there with the drill rush, and Proper is out of the game for the time being. Fielder the next target for the Venture by the looks of things, and Merritt doesn't have a whole lot to shoot at right now. Fielder was dealt with. Self-destruct triggered for someone. He can't get to Merritt's aid right now, and no defense matrix to stop the ball's damage. Now eyes over to Chio, but he doesn't really have any interest in staying in this fight.
CLA decide to use it here as Donghak on the ball, being a bit of a nuisance, right? Trying to go through those TPs, making it hard.
Yeah, or at least just maybe preventing some players from getting through the TP, causing some spacing that's bad for T1. Merritt with a Deadeye. Got to be dodged away from by most of T1, but in doing so, Vigilante puts himself in harm's way. Zest at no risk of being knocked off the map. He's got the mobility to sort of right his course, but Proud was forced out of the fight. Was only able to find Shield. He's going to have to hope it's enough. A trade, mutual kills there. Zest and Merit go after each other as Proper is dealt.
Because Donghak is so fast, you have a window here where someone is going to be coming off a spawn. They decide to amp the pace just a little bit. It looks like they'll actually get Donghak onto the point.
They get a window, pops is, and immediately all the Falcons appear in their midst. T1 are making it competitive though. Zest was able to still find his way towards Fielder. He's changed the game plan somewhat for Falcons. Now someone's going to be more mindful of doubling back and helping the back line. Proper on the venture. Pretty simple game plan. Get to the back line, pressure the Baptiste, knock him out of his own immortality field, and get him off the map early.
Nice
beautifully just around the corner. It's like watching Wanted. Self-destruct here for someone, but it's a bit superfluous. He can only get back in the neck and basically have it stripped from him straight away. Out he comes again, and T1 have done it here. They force Falcons off the sim comp, they take the round. There was a time back in Dallas where he was the only North American tank player that was willing to go there. There's definitely spots for it. This map especially favorable for the Wrecking Ball, and it sort of stands to reason why T1 might have wanted to take us to Busan, which is uncommon.
It's Immortality field out already though.
There's the option not to try and knock anyone out of the Immortality field map and try and just play around the fringes of it, but still find players looking at the venture once they emerge. Yeah,
maybe if he gets the kill on a Proper there, able to get back, he's working with Donghak, they're able to make something out of it there, but
TP's cleared at least. Bowler shot in the hands of Proud, but Diva, of course, can mitigate that ultimate. Proud is now aware of the setup here on the left side of the map. There's an air matrix in play. Fielder staking his claim to this little area. TPing his team, trying to close it on Proud, but he's able to skitter away only just. Soundberry now for T1. It's time to go, they say. Same from Falcons. They reciprocate an overshield and the bowler shot thrown in the vicinity of the wall. The sim ultimate really just muddles the mixture for T1, and they cannot connect with their win conditions. Falcons here have had a cruisy round to secure some of these final blows. A little bit of damage, it's all well and good, but he needs to do more than just follow up on his ball. Then I hear for Merit, no connection, free reload though, he'll take that. Proud bowled over on the point, isolating himself, but Donghak's able to get in there, and Chio exposed to the Doomfist for a moment, allows for a pick-off. Orbital Strike comes in to dodge the self-destruct, and someone's subject now to that tectonic shock. Zest right where he wants to be, on the point, loud and proud. T1 able to shut Falcons back and finally get some traction here, but it's still 2 DPS to worry about. An air matrix, that's a problem. Fielder guns Zest down as he stood proudly in front of the window. Now eyes over towards Donghak. He's still a problem, still disruptive, and he knocks Proper into the wall. Skewed's there for the finish off, and T1 at least seemed just a little too squishy, a little too immobile to risk playing up against that Doom. And there it is, someone has to play second fiddle. He's going to chase out the Donghak, who's hacked instantly, but the damage is done before Proper can have an impact. Zesta and Proud combine, and they claim the backline of Team Falcons, and T1 have decided to make this a proper game. Proud still patient, methodical, 94% and counting here for T1, and on the flanks is where the fight is happening, and Merit comes to the rescue of Fielder. Chio falls, but there's an air matrix in play. Immortality field has to be deployed for the Baptiste now, and Zest steps up. He's hacked, he's down. Proper deals with him with 35 points of health left. He's done enough yet again. Donghak has got nothing to do but to try and work the fringes, but it's too little, too late for T1. And the gauntlet is thrown early in the series. Falcons are here to play. Humbin has become much more of the pinch hitter, a specialist that comes in to really fill particular maps. In the past, he was not that, right?
That's wild to say.
He was the go-to. But, you know, in the early days on this Falcons team, he was alongside Smurf, and Proper has established control of that high ground point. Look at that dive over towards the rest of T1. This guy is ready to knock some heads together, and he's found Proud. Nice pick-off. Proper might be punished for this, but love that swift Suzu. That is dirty from Fielder. Sound barrier is coming online for both sides. An all-in fight, virtually inevitable at this point as Donghak goes low. He's too low for this. Oh, that's not ideal at all. Skewed didn't have sound barrier in time. That might have been a miscommunication, but T1 jumped the gun. And Donghak sent off to the glue factory as a result.
You actually see Fielder turning around. They know Proud is down here, so they know they have an advantage on the front of the fight.
All right, Proud still not involved in the action just yet, but Merit now realizing there's someone behind them. Bowler shot thrown in from long range, disruptive, but doesn't find a kill. It's Merit with a headshot on Proud. That's a big one. Proper pushing into the backline, and there's nothing Vigilante can do. Tectonic shock will account for the backline. And folks, this ain't even close so far.
We're Falcons at the moment.
Armbin may switch after this Graviton Surge is deployed. There's no Life Weaver pedal to save T1 from that dire ultimate. Your eyes peeled for that one. Grav came out at some point. Good catch, actually. And Immortality Field's not going to be enough to protect T1. Turns out that Zaire ultimate's still just as good as it was 6 years ago. And Hanbin converts beautifully on that ultimate.
As Falcons rotate here, they're going to try and take this high ground and let Proper pressure the cars.
Okay, tech shock combined with his air matrix. If Zest doesn't like what he sees, it's the sound barrier from Falcons. They're willing to throw down. They call the bluff of T1 and establish control of this high ground. Now Zest is going to be caught on the stairwell and he's going to have to give this up as well. But Falcons have done all the bluff they can. They've got this balcony. They know Venture's about to emerge in their midst, but Proud is down by Merit, and that's not a good sign for T1. They can't keep your eyes on it. No one pushing it right now because Donghack's contesting, but it's getting awfully close to the goal. A Kitsune rush on the high ground now, and eventually Donghack is brought to his knees. Merit ain't going anywhere, folks. He is going to sit up here, proud as a peacock. And T1 have got nothing to say here on Circuit Royal. Great pass, Hanbin, goes Zest. Hoping to emerge in the middle of the back line here, and everybody ready for it, everyone attending, and that was a great Suzu again from Fielder. Proper kept alive, but not for long. It's Proud doubling down on that fight, and Merit has plenty of targets to shoot up, but the crosshairs aren't quite lining up where they need to. Thankfully, he's got a whole team behind him, and Chio starts going wild. Proud's found his second elimination there of this fight, and Fielder realizes he's bit off more than he could chew with Skewed, who will push the cart further forward. A lot of poke being taken, but Donghack has the javelin spin. He too, though, has used an important cooldown before the fight's really begun. This is going to slow things down for T1, especially the sound barrier. That's just a warning sign from Team Falcons, and they're going to try and follow up on it. Skewed picked up by Hanbin, but he went deep. Donghack finding Proper might not be enough though to stop Falcons. Hanbin looking pretty safe, and Proud has been kept out of most of this fight. They're trying to put together maybe like a fast speed forward play with a Terror Surge. And Matrix to follow up on it. Here we go. Proud's able to pick off Popper first. That's something he's struggled to do on Busan, and it's a big part of the win condition. Minty wants to surge forward. And Falcons have been able to disengage, but they don't have much rope, man. The cart is very close to the checkpoint. Zest looking over his right shoulder. Knows Merit's going to be peeking, trying to find the kill, and out of nowhere, Donghack hits him with the RKO. Merit, not a thing you could say about it.
But you lose Donghack, and then it's going to have Hanbin inside of the Kitsune rush with that Annihilation just playing that corner. I don't think you're going to be able to push this.
Yeah, these ults are being staggered out. It's a sound barrier that hastily has to be committed by T1, and the Annihilation comes in. Big damage though. Great burst on Hanbin. Fielded with yet another Suzu. Keeps him alive. He can't keep getting away with it, Matt. That is just unreal. No time for T1. They have to make the play here and now. Sound barrier from Falcons. They're going to get aggressive behind it. The Immortality Field was only up for a second before Proper skewers Vigilante. Merit, though, is the cost. Zest's able to get in the back line and deal with Chio, and Hanbin slaps Zest silly, and now he's going to fight Donghack. He has the backup, though, of Fielder. But Donghack, all alone up against his upperclassman, has to find a way to establish some control, and he will simply melt down. There's not a damn thing to do about it. Vortex in celebration, and Falcons string them together back to back. Hanbin, the super sub, comes in and lights them up.
Sparkle giving Hanbin all types of love. Right now, it feels like T1 is like the little brother who thought, hey, you know, I've been in the gym. I'm ready to challenge my big brother. They just get slept instantly.
Falcons at bay. Merit down on the point there. Zest sees an opportunity to dive here. Merit just gets out. Both teams very
T1 though
here.
T1's like kind of getting surrounded here. They need to pick a direction and go. Right now, they're going to get collapsed on.
Yeah, they are, again, pretty distracted, but Proud opens up the account for T1. These teams were locked in a deadly embrace for so much of that fight. Merit still hasn't been able to draw blood in a considerable way. Nothing to write home about for the Reaper yet.
Just flanking angles everywhere from Falcons, but that kill comes in, changes things.
To the rush now. Falcons know they've got a brief window here to exploit that advantage. Merit hit with a Suzu, and Donghack eventually will be dismantled, sold for scrap. Hanbin now heads upstairs. He knows there's more of a job to do. But the rest of Falcons want to control this point, and Zest tries to touch. Is not going to get away scot-free.
Make it an interesting fight.
Speed boost used there by T1 to try and chase Fielder, who just disappears. He uses that switch step and gets out of the fight. Now they don't have it available for this engagement, but Donghack eventually gets his prize. Fielder, but lately he's going to be brought down. But Proud as an exchange might be something you consider worthwhile. Hanbin has a self-destruct opportunity to get back into the mech, and great positioning there from Merit, trying to make sure Hanbin can clamber back in. He does, and Falcons still have control. They can stall this out. Falcons are going to have to be content to get the 99 here, Matt, but they need a regroup.
Yeah, they're going to get a D-mech on Hanbin as well, so going to have the full reset here for Falcons. The few fights we've seen Chio get picked off first, so
Welcome back, Hanbin.
Keep an eye on that, yeah, Hanbin's like, where did someone go? Bring him back.
I mean, Hanbin, I don't even know if he can touch the point, Matt. He's that far away. It's going to have to be someone else called upon to do it. Proper, maybe the delegate. No touch. Oh, Proper.
Well, he did touch, but he touched so early, and they forced the recall so early.
Tectonic shock for Zesty. Sees an opportunity now to pressure down, and a Suzu has to be drawn out of field. They're going to go for it. Tech shock applied. Fielded with a Kitsune rush, though, and a disruptor shot to try and keep T1 at arm's length. It's not enough. They barrel through. Fantastic identification of an opportunity to knock heads together.
This is typically a time for Falcons where you would probably see like
Kitsune rushing for T1, but Falcons are able to diligently fall away from this. A pretty safe disengage, but it's still the issue of contesting the point. Proud, he's ready to go here with an overclock from the higher ground, but has to respect this sound barrier. Pulse bomb appended to the wall by Proper, but nobody there to be blown up by it. Hanbin, though, dives in. The Ramatra switch already having an impact.
Yeah, the speed there from Chio after the sound barrier gets the Ramatra and Tracer up on the high ground.
Oh, that's not supposed to happen. That is not supposed to happen.
No, but, well, Donghak also does get staggered up for so long. I mean, Proper's going to be back way earlier, but...
Pick on Vigilante, Proud, that'll do it as well. Zest potentially in an awkward spot here. No, sees Chio low, disrupt the shot thrown out to try and ward off the venture, but Zest ignores it, just goes under it. Merit now on the low ground, not exactly pride of place here for the Sojourn. Good damage on Zest, but he's able to get away regardless now. And Falcons, while they've gotten close, now need to avoid a stagger if they have any hope of contesting this point.
I mean, Zest has been crazy on the venture here, trying to keep T1 alive as T1 will flip. Huge advantage though with that sound barrier.
Yeah, they feel really disadvantaged right now to Team Falcons. You're gonna have a crack at it anyway. Tech shot claims Hanbin straight away, and open and shut case, folks. That should be the end of that chapter. Just drawn out, it's all done with the crying on this second flashpoint as T1 string them together, keeping their head above water.
Yeah, so they will not go down easy. 2-0 here to T1.
Probably would have been T1's preferred approach, at least on some of these flashpoints. They've made good use of the Orisa. Donghak has been stalwart, hard to shove over. Hanbin experiencing that firsthand as we speak. But now you've got the Annihilation. Falcons have got a lot to work with. Another good Suzu there from field. It means Hanbin is in a position to still command attention. But here come T1, mowing him over. It is ridiculous. They are just shrugging Falcons off. And again, we'll get to start with flashpoint priority. Already up to 30%. And it will take some time before Falcons get this point. Hanbin realizing that all of a sudden Orisa behind him. It's a little bit awkward for the Ramatra to be in that spot. This is going to slow things down further. Hanbin, no, Zest able to pursue the enemy tank and bring him down. It has been a tough day at the office for Hanbin. It was kept in by his team for this extra map. Proper on skewed is good. Terror Surge dodged by Property can blink back now and see Zest fall into his waiting arms. Falcons off to a weird start in that fight, but short-handed, they still look to be able to win it out. There's still the problem of the Soj, but that is rectified by Proper. We'll clean up the fight. We'll do a little bit more to try and ward Zest away from the soft underbelly of the Falcons composition. Overclock for Merit, there it is! Talked about those first picks being a kill condition, and finding Proud is about as good as it gets. Jackpot for the veteran DPS player. And that'll get Falcons a foothold in this flashpoint map. It's going to be a 2-1 on Atlas.
I'm curious how they open things up. Like if they decide they want to try and really up the ante, go for it all here. It'll be a tectonic shock here early on.
Oh, Builder run into Bob the Builder could never. Oh, Zest. Oh, a literal tool of demolition and domination for T1. Hey, Javelin's been there for Donghak, turns in Merit's direction. He'll just take another off angle, but he might have overexposed himself here. Awkward saves. Chigo's able to get a sound barrier just in time. T1 skewed, they lost him with beat. Tough fight to come back into now if you're T1. But Chio is still extracted by Donghak. He's done a measure of damage, but not enough to silence the Falcons, who now will have their shot in the spotlight. T1 able to safely back away, give Falcons some rope, and hope it's enough to hang on with. Here's Merit though now, his turn to have a crack at it. Vigi's in trouble, has to swift step away, and he burns a Suzu pretty early. Merit eventually finds Proud. That's the pick for the Soju they were looking for. Zest is down, Fielder slaps him silly, and Hanbin's Annihilation will be unanswered by T1. They committed the sound barrier, and it wasn't enough to keep them in the fight. Donghak is healthy though and will contest this, but that's all he can do to keep his team in the map so far. Skewed down, Merit finds him. Donghak dripping out, bleeding out on the point. and Team Falcons even things up on Atlas. We're going all the way here.
That Falcon just kind of running back here. It'd be a bad way to go out.
They've got to reverse sweep Falcons in this series, and first they've got to avoid being reverse swept on this map. Tough stuff. Vigilante. Yep, sees Proper approaching. Big damage there.
Already.
So early, but Vinci's got no choice. The stakes are so high. The margin of error is so slim, and Vinci goes down. It's at the cost of merit, though, and Zest has a tech shock that so far has been unanswerable by Falcons. Yet again, T1 will start with flashpoint control and have to hope to hold it to secure the map.
As he has really kept T1 alive on this map.
Both support ultimates up for Falcons. If they're going to use them, they better make it quick. Builder's the one to open. Suzu on Donghack, but he's still in the midst of it. A Maelstrom of body surrounding him, and that's going to be a terror surge from Donghack for the extra durability, but it's not going to be enough to keep him standing. Surely, here's the annihilation. Soundberry comes out for Donghack. Scoot finds the ultimate at just the right time. Eventually, the tank falls, but on the periphery, Mirror was dragged down. Field to the next target. Hardbin has to do it all here, and Proper's on the clock. He needs to find another elimination now as Falcons are slipping. They're losing control of the map. Gio avoids the damage from the Venture and is able to find Skewed with the boop. Hardbin is healthy, swinging at this Venture, and eventually Skewed has to pop up. Zest goes for a drill rush and will be brought down. Good stall for T1, but Falcons now have their chance. And Proper knows he's got to go for something here.
And these fights are taking so long to develop for T1. It's allowing Falcons to build back up the support ults.
96 and counting. Proper hunting. Donghack low javelin's been already used, and someone's going to have to get him back to full strength. It's Zest again called upon to save T1. Tech shock now as Harbin gives it a respectful distance. Zest is hunting. Sound barrier should do the job. T1 have got everything they need to secure and get the flip. Now it's a matter of holding on and sealing the deal on Atlas. Fielder just stalling, threw a Suzu down, Proper, and he will fall. Sound barrier for Chio, the only player to benefit from it. He's knocked away from the point as well. Team Falcons throw everything at T1, and the youngsters hold on.
Well, they've actually chosen Coliseum already, but I was going to say one of the push maps could be really good. Back on the Tracer is exactly what Proper wants to be able to do. When you look over towards Proud, which you mentioned, Puckett, Proud may need to start to look towards the cast. It actually may end up being
going on a really long flank, putting some damage down, is Proper.
Great sustained damage, can really chime in nicely with the Sojourn. It's tough for Donghack to stay alive against that DPS combo. They vomit damage out, and Proper's able to take that first kill. But in the meantime, Zest and Proud combined. The engine room of T1 is ticking over nicely. Now the fight breaks down to a no-hold-barred brawl, but Proper doesn't really have anywhere to go here.
Gives you a little bit of advantage. It's going to be Falcons taking the lead.
Yeah, very quickly pushed back, and Proud just found himself out in the open. That disruptor shot able to bring him down. They kind of can't kill Donghack, so they ignore him as best as they can. But when T1 with 4 players and Donghack in the next postcode is still able to find these picks, it's a very good sign for T1. Self-sufficiency with their ball AWOL allows T1 to regain control. It looks like it didn't quite catch onto his teammate, but no harm, no foul. Merit stayed alive quite happily. Here's a sound barrier that comes in. Proud stuck. Oh, Proper. What a connection on the Sojourn. But Zest is able to do him one better on the other side. It's Merit falling. Both Sojourns off the map, and Zest has his eyes on Chio. Drills him into the masonry. And once again, when push comes to shove, T1 are good for the fight. Zest doubles back for a moment. The annihilation is something you've got to respect, but someone got poked down. 2 consecutive fights, he's going to have that ultimate available. He is farming damage right now. Merit slam Skewed. Nowhere to go, nothing to do about it. The bot's in the mid of the map still. 24 meters, that's all T1 have had to work with. We're now getting halfway into this map. Falcons still have a distinct lead, but Chio doesn't have a beat to answer this one. It doesn't seem to matter because Zest didn't benefit from it in the first place. Merit goes down, so it's a trade of DPS, but when you're the team that commits the sound barrier, that feels so bad.
Yeah, I mean, Donghack just getting chased here by Proper, and the bot going back into T1 map territory.
Bad.
They thought about chasing Proper. Chio there to help him, but Chio ends up giving up his life.
And he was close to the beat. It's something that Falcons might have called upon, but someone
forced Donghack on that ball to get around the corner, get high ground.
They commit a beat in response here, but Merit was already taken down by Zest. An annihilation from someone now. Can he find more than just the one kill? Zest falls to another perfect Proper pulse bomb. He has been sticking those beautifully. But a minefield snarled up Chio, who basically has died twice consecutively off spawn. But late in the fight, it's been someone. Very, very important. Stopping power is crucial against these ball comps. Vigilante and Scooter both down. The dive into the backline was gainful for Team Falcons, and Zest can only do what he can. Fielder, what a shot! Kunai connects onto the tectonic, shocking Venture. What? Falcons Falcons now in a position to get across the bridge.
Yeah, and Proper will continue to play these types of positions. Just jumping onto the bot, getting a hold, then jumping back, and you lose Donghack yet again. Oh,
it's ugly.
Starting to fall apart here for T1.
Going from bad to worse.
So he actually sees Donghack come out of the spawn.
Oh, good lord. Proper have him back by 9 at least, mate. Skewed beat, has to go for it, knows Proper's encroaching. Proper can wait this out now and go for a fight a little bit later on because Skewed had a bit of his own as Proud going down. Skewed in the annihilation, exsanguinated of all his humors, and Team Falcons go up a gear when it matters. Now they're shoving towards the end of the map.
As this is your final shot, he's gonna pop it here. Fueler getting close to his as well. Falcons, they actually kite this, they back up completely.
Great patience, they know they're knocking on the door, literally, of T1's base. Proper drops in. His pulse bombs have been sublime so far. Some incredible sticks securing those kills to break the back of T1 at important moments in this game. And Proud slides across. He is caught by someone, brought down.
The bot moving back closer here towards T1's base. Feels like any time now for Falcons to get it over the line.
30 seconds left to play. This is it. And Proud at least opens up here for T1. Merit goes by the wayside, but Proper will step up to fill that space. Still holding onto the pulse bomb. Knows so much rides on it here to get a clean completion here and now. Sound barrier for Chio. Skew doesn't have his yet, and that surely has to be the death knell. The minefield, though, will force Falcons away from the bot. They've got to respect this. So a sound barrier for Chio doesn't do much more than just keep them in striking distance.
With your annihilation as we head into OT, Merit back off spawn.
And this is it. T1 are going to leave it all out there now or never. Forced away from the bot is Zest. It's a questing pulse bomb speculative that doesn't find any connection. Proud's hunting. Big headshot on Fielder forces him back, and Chio's going to be the next to go down. Nice connections here from Proud. Coming alive right when needed. And Falcons will accept this. They'll fall away from the fight, say, okay, for now, you can have it. But it's an overtime push across the map that T1 have to make.
Falcons going to be able to fight from this great position of power, controlling high ground.
Donghack struggling with that vortex, and Zest, the first casualty, is Fielder surgically extracting the Tracer. Merit falls to the pile driver here, but it's good enough for Falcons. Good enough for us. It'll get them into a grand final here at the mid-season championship. To T1, they say, out of the way, youngsters. We have a legacy to cement.
They looked a little shaky earlier, but today here against T1, that looks like the Falcons we all know.